Very true. I also want to point out that he is clearly gaming in between this Zoom.
Kevin, you are terrible. You're giving these young journalists, you're ruining their.
I want to say I'm no fool, okay? And I know.
So now you're not serious.
No, I know a dual
and you're
screen.
playing games on the
Look
job.
at his hands.
This is terrible.
He didn't put his hands up one time.
My hands right here.
No, now you did because you pressed pause.
What's up? This is Jada Mack here from MackMedia Productions, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Peacock's newest show, Fight Night: The $1 Million Heist. Now, Fight Night: The $1 Million Heist is an action-packed, star-studded, drama-filled TV show that's going to have you on the end of your seat. This past week, I was fortunate enough to be able to sit down and interview some of the stars of the show. And if you aren't familiar with the cast of the show, let me just list you a few names so you can understand the people that I was able to interview or the people that I was in the same room with. To start off, we have Kevin Hart as Chicken Man, Samuel L. Jackson as Frank Moulton, Taraji P. Henson as Vivian Thomas, Don Cheadle as J.D. Hudson, Chloe Bailey as Lena Mosley, Dexter Darden as Muhammad Ali, and Sequina Walls as McKinley Rogers. Before anything else, I just want to say how grateful I am for this opportunity. Being able to sit down and watch stars that you've been watching since a little kid to now is a one-on-one feeling that I can't describe. I just want to give a big shout out to Premiere TV and 135 Agency. I want to give you guys a big thank you. And I'm always grateful for opportunities like this, and I hope to work with you guys more in the future. Now, before we get into my exclusive interviews with the cast of the show, let me give you a little backstory of this show and how it came to be. Fight Night: The $1 Million Heist is based on the acclaimed iHeart True Crime podcast, which follows the infamous story of how an armed robbery on the night of Muhammad Ali's historic 1970 comeback fight changed not only one man's life, but ultimately transformed Atlanta into the Black Mecca.
More importantly, I got the vision. Ain't nobody gonna see the way I see it. All I need from you is Frank's blessing in his Rolodex.
When a hustler named Chicken Man, played by Kevin Hart, hosts an after party to celebrate the fight with a guest list of the country's wealthiest, the night ends with the most brazen criminal underworld heist in Atlanta's history.
Mr. Chicken Man?
Guilty as charged, yeah.
Suspected of masterminding the crime, Chicken Man is hell-bent on clearing his name. But first, he must convince his old adversary, J.D. Hudson, Don Cheadle, one of the first black detectives in the city's desegregated police force, who is tasked with bringing those responsible to justice. All right, now let's jump straight into it. My first interview, or the first interview I'm showing you guys, was Chloe Bailey, who plays Lena Mosley, and Sequina Walls, who plays McKinley Rogers. And here's the clip. How are you doing, Chloe? How are you doing, Sequina? I'm Jada Mack. And my question for both of you guys is, what made you take this role for Fight Night, or your respective roles for Fight Night?
I think for me, it was the collection of everybody that I saw coming together with this project. The opportunity to work with such great talented people, but also to learn from different ends of the industry that we all aspire to be in. You can watch a lane that has been defined by Kevin Hart. You can watch a lane that's been defined by Don Cheadle and Sam Jackson, a lane that's been defined by Terrence Howard and Taraji Henson. And so you get to see all these different people in one space that are doing the thing that you aspire to do and create on an even greater level right in front of you. And you get paid to do it, you get to play with them, you get to learn from them, you get to test your mettle, but you also get to be inspired at the same time. And then to work with my peers as well was cool. I've always been a big believer that whatever is on the page is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And for this one, it was always on the page from the first few episodes that I got an opportunity to read. So when I read it and I saw it and I knew who came together, it was like, if I could be a part of it, dope.
Yeah. It definitely, for me, I was sold. One, I loved the script, and I absolutely adore Will Packer. We've worked together before in the past, and I was like, okay, he's attached to it. I know it's going to be fantastic. And of course, Kevin Hart. And then when Samuel L. Jackson's name and Taraji P. Henson, it was like, oh, I would be honored to be a part of something like this.
And it was cool because for us, there's always projects within every season in the industry that everyone's talking about. Mm-hmm. And so there's a level of pride that you have when you were coming back and forth from whatever you're doing. You say, I'm filming Fight Night, and everyone's like, oh, yeah. And so you're like, okay, cool, I made the right choice.
as you can see, they explain why they decided to join the cast for Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist. Me personally, after interviewing Chloe Bailey and Sinquia, specifically Chloe in this case, I was smiling ear to ear for the rest of the day. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing, but that's neither here nor there. Next up on the list, we have Don Cheadle and Dexter Darden. The question I asked them was, do you see any parts of yourself within the character that you portrayed within this show? And here's what the duo had to say. Cheadle.
How are you?
I'm doing good. My question for you guys today is, do you see any parts of yourself within the characters that you guys played respectively?
Yes. I played Muhammad Ali, and I think I had to find a part of relation. Like I had to build a relationship with that guy and figure out exactly what in me embodied the champ too. So I definitely got a lot in common with Ali, and I got a mouth on me too. I could talk a lot. So yeah, for sure.
And for me, JD reminds me of people in my family, my uncles and Black men who came up at a time where the system was not, recognizing them for who they were and what they had, and the level of work and commitment that they had to go through, and not misstep and never do the wrong thing, right, and always toe the line, and deal with these thankless positions in order just to maintain, not even to really get ahead. So I think JD is one of these guys. I feel like I'm in the lineage of those guys. And I think in some ways that we all are in this country. Absolutely. And still trying to strive and figure out what that means. So yeah, for sure. I think I see parts of myself in JD.
And that is what Dexter Darden and Don Cheadle had to say in response to my question. Now, for me personally, it is a little weird seeing Don Cheadle play anything that's not War Machine / Rhodey or anything in the MCU, but I'm all for actors branching out. Next up on the interview list, I had Will Packer and Shay Agbrana. I'm sorry for butchering your name. And by any chance, Will and Shay, if you're watching this, I do graduate in the spring, May 2025. And if you are looking for interns, I'll be happy to apply. But we could talk more about that off camera. To get back on track, Will Packer is the executive producer, and Shay was the creator, writer, showrunner, and executive producer as well. And the question I asked them was, how did you put your own touch on a show that you pretty much already had the baseline for? And here's how those two responded to my question. How y'all doing today? I'm Jaden Mack.
What up, JSU?
How you doing? How you doing? And my question for you guys today is, as previously stated, you already had the baseline for the series. You already had the plot points. You kind of knew how you wanted to have the series play out. So my question is, what goes into the process of, okay, we have the baseline of what the story is going to be about, but how do we keep it authentic while still putting our own touch onto it?
No, I'm saying, that for me, I was going to say that starts with collaboration. Obviously, we had the podcast. I talk about the podcast a lot, all the time, but it's because the podcast, what it did is provided a blueprint, because this is such a huge breadth in terms of characters and stories that are going on. So what the podcast did, it gave us like a blueprint to kind of follow, so that way we can really dig deep and really do some interesting work with all of these characters and give them like very intricate storylines and desires and wants and goals and dreams. But also, like, all of these characters have these traits that are easily identifiable, like wanting, like, being dreamers, being hustlers, wanting to like elevate your situation. I think is a very kind of like American ideal. And so for me, it was just, we had that blueprint, and it was like, okay, so that gives us an opportunity with the limited series format to really explore these characters in an interesting, nuanced way.
As previously stated, Will and Shay, I am open to all internship opportunities. I will be reaching out to you guys after this video goes live. Next up on the interview list, I had Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Frank Moulton. And my question to Samuel L. Jackson was, how do you make your characters feel different and separate them from each other?
Good, bro. How about you?
I'm doing good. So my question for you today is, from all the roles you played, from Nick Fury to Shaft to Mace Windu to this, how do you make all your characters feel different? And what's your mindset going in from playing one character to another to really embody the role of the person that you're playing?
How do I make them feel different? Or appear different, or different characters? Well, everybody's got their own life. And unless, I have source material, if it's not from a book and they've given me a history of who they are, I take the liberty of creating my own biographies for people. Where they came from, how much education they have, brothers, sisters, what kind of family life, just things that will inform me as a human being as to how I carry myself through the world because of my experiences or the experiences that that are told into the story or I'm allowed to create for myself. And once you've done all that, you find a way to carry yourself in the world that allows you to be that person and to influence people according to how they've been influenced.
Wonderful, thank you.
What about seeing star yet? Oh, shit.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just trying to ask them if they had a game yet,
Actually, we play our first game this Saturday against Langston University, I believe, and then next week we play Southern University.
Okay. Yeah, I used to go to Jackson State games when I was down there shooting Time to Kill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, probably before you were born.
Most definitely.
So I auditioned for that movie.
All right, and we have one last question for Jai.
12?
And I would say my personal favorite part about interviewing Samuel L. Jackson was that from the time that he walked in the room to the time that he left was that he was 100% authentic. And it's not really more I can say. He came in the room cussing. He came in cracking jokes. He came in laughing. Throughout interviewing with us, he was cracking jokes, asking us stuff. The whole cast was just authentic throughout the whole interview. But I'll touch on that in the conclusion. Next up on the list, we actually do have Kevin Hart and Taraji P. Henson. So I'm about to play you guys the Kevin Hart clip. You can see what I asked him. But overall, just the interaction with Kevin Hart had the whole Zoom call laughing. And not even just for the clips that I'm play, but the clips that you guys don't see. The other interviews asked him questions. He was cracking jokes. He was laughing. Like, it was hard to stay professional and, stay serious because he's quick on his feet. You'll see what I mean in a second. I'm starting to laugh just thinking about it. Haji.
Hi, Jaden.
What up, Jaden?
How y'all doing? My question today is, when preparing for a series like this in a role such as Chicken Man and Vivian Thomas, what characteristics from those characters do you pull from yourself in order to give your best performance as that character?
What do we pull from myself? I think just an understanding of just like the time, and you have to have the wherewithal to just research what you can so that you can comfortably put yourself in that setting and not only act but react, right? I think the biggest thing for me was the dialect. Taraji, actually, day one, remember the cigarettes? And we were talking about like, okay, they smoked in this time, but how much do we want to smoke versus how much we don't want to smoke? It's like the little things that you can lean on and start to build as your anecdotes attached to your character that you'll stay true to through the duration of the series. But making the early decisions as to what they can be and what they will be, she made a great point earlier. It comes with the collaborative effort of the teams that we're surrounded by. So props, wardrobe, etc. You think that you have an understanding of what you want to do, but when you put the clothes on, you put the glasses on, the watch, the necklace, or the chain, and you got the things that you're playing with, so much more happens. So there was an idea of what I wanted to do, and there was an idea of how I wanted to approach the 70s tone, but it was elevated on a day-to-day from my surroundings, from the stuff that I had that I could use as ammunition, and more importantly, from the banter and back and forth from my co-stars. So all of that stuff is more of a discovery as you go on. You don't come in with it all figured out and that's it, and you stay to this and stay true to this.
Things
it just continue to change. Yes.
Yeah, because you don't know what the other character is gonna give you. I can paint the picture at home, and then I can sit here and go, I'm gonna go tomorrow, I'm gonna have this conversation with Kevin. I don't know what Kevin's gonna say. I can write the script at home, but I guarantee you by the time I get to where I'm going tomorrow to have the conversation with Kevin, it will never go how I thought about it in my head. So that's how you have to take these. I don't really learn my lines at home. I learn my lines in the scene because I don't want to learn them the way that I think the person's going to say it. I want to respond honestly to how they deliver the line to me. So I stopped learning my lines at home years ago. because I need the input. How Kevin says his line to me is totally going to affect how I say my line back to him. And I'm not going to know that until I get on set with him.
Very true. I also want to point out that he is clearly gaming in between this Zoom.
Kevin, you are terrible. You're giving these young journalists, you're ruining their.
I want to say I'm no fool, okay? And I know.
So now you're not serious.
No, I know a
and
dual
you're
screen.
playing games on the
Look
job.
at his hands.
This is terrible.
He didn't put his hands
You're
up
not
one time.
My hands right here.
No, now you did because you pressed pause.
This is terrible. What you're doing to these babies' dreams. This is you ruined that young baby's interview.
What is it? Is it that Fortnite shit? Are you on that Fortnite shit?
I don't play Fortnite.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's okay. I was actually listening to Chocolate Dropper's new album.
It's coming out. It's dropping. It's one song for 30 minutes. It's coming soon.
Amazing.
It's one 30-minute track. The track is called Yeah, Bitch. Right? I told you that. And it goes into different layers of what that means. Look, you want to keep me in this chair all day? That's what you're going to get.
As you can see, Kevin Hart had me laughing. Like, even after the Zoom call, I couldn't stop laughing. And that goes on to my next point, is that the cast gets along so well off camera, but just the way that Taraji and Kevin was interacting, the way that Chloe and Sinquia was interacting was authentic. The way Don and Dexter was interacting, it was all authentic. And I was going to say that when a cast, it's kind of like sports. If you can get along with your teammates off the court, when you get on the court, it's going to go just the same. And even just watching this show, seeing how they interact off the camera or off the set and on the set, you could tell that it's genuine. They feed off each other's energy. Kind of like Chloe said in her interview, is that being around them, you build off the energy that's in the air. And there you guys have it. That was my interview with the cast of Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist. And it's safe to say that this show isn't only entertaining, it is not only star-studded, but it also deep dives into an interesting piece of history. If you haven't already, please check out Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist. Streaming now on Peacock, the first 3 episodes are out. And in the comments below, please let me know who your favorite characters is, your favorite storylines, and what utterly surprised you about the story. Lastly, before I end this video, I just want to give a big shout out to 135 Agency and Premiere TV for giving me this opportunity, and I hope to continue working with you guys in the future. Also, to my viewers at home, a big shout out to you, because I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys' support and help. And before you click off this video, make sure you comment, like, subscribe to MackMedia Productions, and stay tuned because I got more stuff coming. I have a lot of stuff that's on the way, and you just have to stay tuned. This has been Jada Mack, and I thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Kevin was just telling me about.
Yeah, come on.
Kevin was just telling me.
Come on.
OnlyFans page. I'm trying to get the link for you guys.
For the junkie.
What's his OnlyFans page?